America can push the myth that we're all equal and we're all living in a multicultural society, but in reality, America's more segregated now than it was 30 years ago.
You have two boys?
Yeah, two boys.
And are they involved in the Klan at all?
They've been involved in the Klan. They were basically born into the Klan.
All right. Hey, this is Eric McCoy, and we are looking to walk a mile in your shoes and hoping you're willing to walk a mile in my shoes. And I got Lona here.
I am Lona Currie, and while neither Eric or myself pretend to know everything about the soul of racism in this country, we definitely want to walk a mile in many shoes and all shoes that we can to bring understanding in so that we can help heal humanity together. So in today's video, there may be a few just trigger warnings. These are hard subjects for us to tackle and talk about, but you know, me and my fierce co-host here are not afraid to tackle these hard subjects, for it is only when we walk a mile in each other's shoes that we heal through understanding. So Eric, thanks, man.
Yes. And you know, this has so far, it's been a great journey
Yes.
through hate.
Yes.
You know, as we kind of continue to argue the lack of evidence and common sense, I think is really what we're looking at with these individuals and their arguments.
Absolutely.
And it takes very little research. And I can almost just go to Google, type in hate, and just listen for one moment, right? And things will really start to unravel.
Quickly, man, quickly.
Yeah. Now, so much hate in this country is founded within Christianity. And I kind of hate to say this, but I got to throw Trump. You know, we kind of get trumped. But Trump fans, of course, you know, like to spout the Bible. But honestly, I kind of look at the scary part is I think the Bible talks a little bit against idols. I don't know if they sort of view Trump as an idol. But I wanted to begin with a very conservative Christian and what, of course, a lot of people define as a hate group. And of course, the most well-known of quote unquote hate groups, although they will tell you there is no hate.
True, but they are defined as a white supremacist terrorist hate group.
Yep, absolutely. And of course, we are talking about the KKK. The Ku Klux Klan that was founded in 1865. Yep. And they extended into almost every southern state by 1870 and became a vehicle for white southern resistance to the Republican Party's Reconstruction-era policies that were aimed at establishing political and economic equality for Black Americans. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I think I've made a mistake. I think I said conservative Christian group that became a vehicle for white Southern resistance to the Republican Party. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
So
right.
Conservatives are Republicans. Is that correct?
That's what we've been told.
So then why are they fighting against themselves, right? So you know what? I want to actually start before we get to this KKK guy. I want to show you a video so that you can clear this up for me before we actually get to the Grand Dragon.
Favorite.
Sorry, a Christian non-hater that is a dragon and burn crosses.
That's right. A non-lyncher.
Yeah, so check this video out.
So the greatest thing about this video is that I see this every day driving to and from work. This is just a part of my daily life, these contradictory flags here. Now, I know in the 1800s when all of this first began, the parties were switched. You know, the Republican Party was the liberal and the Democrats were the hate groups. But I don't know that, it's come full circle, and I don't know that these young people that are flying these flags and proudly standing for Well, I'm not quite sure what they're standing for, or if they could explain it to you.
And well, the funniest thing to me is that when you see these posts on Facebook sometimes, right? That the Republican Party is the party of Lincoln, and we're not racist, and they were the ones that were fighting against slavery.
Right.
Okay, so
Right.
now you've got all of these people that are still in the South, right? Which
Right.
were
Right.
the Confederacy was the Democratic Party, and yes, it was. And so they are flying the Union flag, which was the party of Lincoln, and then the Confederate flag, which was the party of the Democrats. And so these flags are fighting against each other, right? I mean, it's crazy. You got the Confederacy lost; they're gone anyway. So these are just people that are creating some kind of image, and again, going to agendas.
Yep.
We're the Republicans, we're the conservatives, but how does the Confederate flag fall in with that?
They don't understand themselves. I guarantee you, if you stop, and again, we got to say this, that these are young people. These are young, I hate to just put it all here, but these are young Southern guys that are holding on to this conglomeration, little tiny bits of things that they see, have heard, but I don't really think they know what they're even standing for at this point. I think they're standing for a country song. I don't think their place in the world. I don't think they even realize what they're doing when they parade this stuff around. And the other thing is, you and I know this very well, so within is without. Two opposing fights on an external vehicle are two opposing fights internally as well.
Yep.
And then too, I often say that 80% of the people that I see on a daily basis that fly these contradicting flags would not fly them everywhere they drive, if that makes sense. So I wonder, what do you stand for? What is it that you are standing for is my biggest question.
Well, and again, the Republican Party is primarily the white, quote unquote, Americans. And I'll tell you what's happening, and this is what I see as happening, is that the Republicans are in fear of their party dying.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it from, so many, and a good percentage of these Republicans are older people. And a lot of the younger people are becoming much more liberal. Right. And so it's and I agree with you. I definitely agree. They have no idea what they're saying. A lot of these people claim that, oh yeah, I just fly this flag because it's our heritage. Right? Your heritage. And your heritage of, we want slavery back.
Exactly.
And that's hate.
Exactly.
But they're not a party of hate. And we know, if we study history, we know where the party flipped, right?
Absolutely.
You had it start at Truman, who was
Right.
a Democrat, and he was the one that I believe it was 1948, that proposed a pro-civil rights platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then Johnson, who was another, again, Southern Democrat, he signed the Civil Rights Act. That was in 1964, and the Voting Rights Act, that was in 1965. And then, of course, some Democrats had switched to the Republican Party even prior to this. And but the change wasn't total. And again, when we look at history during if you look at going into the 60s, and into the early 70s, with Nixon, right?
Right.
This is where, he did this Southern strategy, right, that appealed to the racism of Southern white voters.
Right.
And then the real lock-in was Reagan. So by the time Reagan became president in 1980, the hold on the white Southerners was firm, Right. And so today, of course, the Republican Party remains the party of the South. which is a
Yep.
very ironic outcome, right? Considering that,
Uh-huh.
again, a century ago, right,
Right.
white Southerners wouldn't even have considered voting for the party of Lincoln.
Right, right. And one of the most profound things that I have been told in my entire one of them in my entire life. So one of my best friends in the world is an ex-Aryan Brotherhood member. Now he told me when during the Trump campaign, he says, not all Trump supporters are racist. He said, but all racists are Trump supporters. And I said,
Yes.
that's profound. And from you, I completely will take that
Yes.
as
So we've definitely defined the Republican Party by definition as the Democratic Party during the Civil War.
right.
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 So now I want to return to the dragon and see if we can make sense of this guy's arguments.
Oh, goodness.
This is going to be fun.
That's one of the things the preacher showed me a long time ago. He was at a Klan rally, and I recognized a lot of Klan rallies. We had a lot of preachers there, and and he showed me the Bible verse, Leviticus 19:18. Because you always hear people holler, love thy neighbor. But then when you read the verse for yourself, it says, love thy neighbor of thy people. And my people are white people. So that's exactly what I'm doing, is carrying out, God's wishes. I want to love my people and help my people just as every other race has the right to help and benefit their race. I mean, that's it.
Okay, so valid argument that you want to help your people are white like every other race. And we're talking about equality right there. So why the costume and why the disguise? If all you want to do is help your people. And hey, by the way, I'm white. So does that include me?
No, you're transgender.
That's right. We established last week that something was wrong with
You're
me
lost.
anyway.
I mean, you're
I'm
burning
gone.
in hell.
I'm walking on fire right now. You can't even stand close to me.
The thing on this, so he's speaking of Leviticus, right? Leviticus 19:18, right? He just kind of points out 19, right? And this is straight from the King James version, because this is the version that they use. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. Let's go with the argument that what he is saying is correct. Okay. It's just his people. You're to love his people, not everybody else, but just his people. Right. Now, if we return to what we talked about in our first show, we talked about Leviticus 18:22. Homosexuality, if you sleep with a man, if a woman sleeps or a man sleeps with another man, right, that is a sin and you're going to hell. Okay. So why does this not make sense to me? Okay. So if Leviticus 19:18 is just talking about his people, and then Leviticus 18:22 is speaking to the same people, why does one direct towards all people, but the other just towards his people?
And again, we talked about this before in our common conversations. How in the world do we justify if we're seeing other human beings walking around on earth that are not his people, black, brown, Asian? We see all types of people. Are we then then we say God made a mistake? How do we explain these people got here?
Well, exactly. And since we all came originally from Adam and Eve, which is just two people, there's nothing in the Bible that says there was any other people that were created by other people. The flood came, which just left his family, right?
Right.
And so from that aspect, we all come from Noah and his wife and incestual relationships.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We saw that in the movie.
Between the families, right? And so we are all in the same family.
We are all in the same family. We're all creation. I mean, do we differentiate? Do we only plant pine trees with pine trees and oak trees with oak trees? We don't do that. And to even bring that up, somebody would say, well, that's a ridiculous argument. Well, I feel the same. when I hear these arguments from wizards and dragons and so many other people on earth, if they could answer that one question to me, in that, how did these other folks get here? How did we,
There must be another Bible.
There has to be. There's something they're getting that we're not getting here. There's something, there's a secret one.
Or he just decided to create people that were already condemned to hell. I mean, to me, that doesn't seem like a loving God.
No, it doesn't. They want to fight for a vengeance God. They want to fight for an angry God. And so much of that, again, is rooted in fear and control. So if we can make you afraid, we can control you. And I think that in all things, we talk about the continued discussion of agendas. What's the biggest agenda if we never have to experience anything outside of ourselves? We can call it wrong, vilify it, and we can stay in our bubble. But the world's going on outside of our bubble.
Right. I mean, their agenda is the extinction of all people except for the heterosexual white people that are on this planet.
Absolutely.
And I want to, since we're talking about this real quick, just for fun, I want to give you his take on homosexuality, since we're in this realm real quick.
I knew he'd have one.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
And what you guys have problems, you want to stay separate from African Americans, Mexicans,
Jews, Arabs, Chinese, it don't matter. I would love to see a white homeland established one day.
and gay community as well?
The what?
The gay community as well?
They're abomination. Gay people supposed to be put to death upon sight, and that's in Romans 11. It's also in Leviticus 20:13. Homosexuals are supposed to be put to death upon sight.
Just so happens I got this King James Bible sitting by me, so let's check that out. If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination.
Yes.
They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them.
But remember, he's only talking about thy people.
Thy people, exactly.
I mean, he's not, because again, I mean, you can't jump to the other story within a page of each other, and you go from thy, which it doesn't actually say, it says love thy neighbor as thyself.
Right.
But yes, the line before says thy children. Okay. But if you're going with that context, you have to stay in the same context with homosexuality, that's only thy people.
Right. And so it also says, he says they should be put to death on sight. Even if we're looking into this King James verse, it does not say they should be put to death on sight. It says they shall surely be put to death. Not they shall be put to death on sight. Their blood shall be upon them. My question to him is, why is it that this is the problem with the picture of white Jesus. Why is it that he believes that the white race is so superior when how does he tell that? Then never did it say, how would a white person be born in the lands of the Old Testament? This is the problem where we go back to white Jesus pictures hanging everywhere.
Yes, and if you look at the even the possibility of him being white, it doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit.
He would be dark skinned.
He would be dark skinned, hair like lamb's wool. Well, I don't know about you, Eric, but my hair is not like lamb's wool. Why is it that we continue? It goes back to the point that we make with, the twisted in that we have been made in God's image. No, we have made God in our image. And
Absolutely.
That's what men like this do. He's
Absolutely.
made God in his image.
Yes.
Because it fits his agenda.
What did Romans say?
I didn't hear him give a verse.
He doesn't in many of them.
So let's see. God hath not cast away his people, which he foreknew. Wot ye not what the scripture saith of Elias, how he maketh intercession to God? Let's see. I am looking for something that says something about man lying with man. Which one is it?
126 to 27.
Oh, Romans 1. He said chapter 11. He doesn't know his Bible. For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections. For even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another. Men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meet. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventor of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in that do them. So it seems like there's a whole list of things that
There's a lot more than just homosexuality.
In fact, yeah, I think there was a lot more of maliciousness, murder, debate, deceit, whisperers, backbiters.
Backbiters?
Backbiters.
Damn, don't bite a back.
Don't bite somebody's back, man.
And
Haters
it's
of
good
God.
the KKK is a non-violent, never murdered,
I know. They've gotten a bad rap.
Absolutely. They're victims.
They are. They're victims. They're victims because by this, they, put to death. I mean, it says it. It says it right there.
Yep.
That's exactly how it says and explains it very easily to understand. Or we could take these words and just make them mean what we want them to mean.
Right.
And confuse other people because it's hard to read, hard to make sense of.
Yep. Absolutely. Let's see if we can find some more stuff that we can fact check.
I love fact check.
They should have the right to do that. And I feel right now in America, we're losing our right as white people, as the white race, to defend ourselves or to even speak out. If you say you're proud to be white, they pretty much label you a racist. And to me, racist is just a made-up word. I mean, it was made up by a communist Jew named Leon Trotsky in 1936, was the first time that it was used during a debate, and he was using it to cut people down. And if that's the way they're going to use it, then I guess I would be considered a racist, and I'm proud to be a racist.
He's a racist?
He's a racist, man.
So let me fact check that for 1 second. Okay. Again, as we look at, the validity and the accurate information. All right. The Oxford English Dictionary's first recorded utterance of racism was actually by a guy by the name of Richard Henry Pratt, which was in 1902.
Oh.
Right? And he was railing against the evils of racial segregation.
Oh.
And here's what he said. I'll give you the specific quote. Segregating any class or race of people apart from the rest of the people kills the progress of the segregated people or makes their growth very slow. Association of races and classes is necessary to destroy racism and classism.
Wow. Was he before his time, man?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now the guy was about, what did he, like 30 years off?
Yeah, for sure.
It was like the 30s. This was in 1902.
And he doesn't sound like a Jew. how he put it.
No.
I think he just wanted to be able to say Jew. I think he just wanted to be able to call somebody a Jew. I think he just wanted to say it.
He
Here's my
just likes
chance.
to use the word Jew.
I think so.
This guy is, and it's funny because when I originally pulled this video up, I mean, I literally could just listen 30 seconds and find something inaccurate and just go through this entire thing. And I really had very little luck in finding anything of accuracy or honesty, within it, or the fact that he's really ignorant and stupid and has been lied to and told false information, which again, we may have figured something out here.
I think we have, because this is not something you run into. This is something that you are brought into. You know what I mean? Rarely, I think, can they be taken down this road, without either being very in need of acceptance, or they've been brought through generations. And the sad thing is, the scary thing is, this guy looks really familiar to me. And I think we're in the same state.
Absolutely.
I'm beginning to know, do I know him?
Now, I want to clear up something with this guy, as I kind of did some research on him. Okay. And, he might have been, again, the first person to, go against racism and its effects by putting a name to it. Right. He's also a lot better remembered for a very different statement. And what he said was, kill the Indian, save the man. And the other thing I find funny about the guy was that, it's a made up word. Can you give me any word that is not a made up word?
True.
At some point in time,
somebody made it up.
Yeah. House. We live in a house.
Who
Homosexuality. Made up word.
Made it all up. It's not true. It's
at some point.
It's done. Wow. And he sits so confident. Yeah. But I got to ask this. Is that a piece of cotton on his sachet there? Is that what that white thing is? It looks like a flower. I think it's cotton.
Yes. Now I want to point something out here again. This is good. All right. And more than I listen to him, he doesn't seem like a bad guy. Okay. Now I want you to watch this video. Okay. Because they don't hate. Right.
That's right.
So, he does not hate. This is not a hate group, as everybody has put upon them. And it's unfair that because again, they are victims.
They are victims.
What's the biggest issue for the Klan today? Is it immigration or race mixing or separatism?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, we've got more immigrants right now. Immigration is costing the United States American taxpayers $320 billion a year, and that's illegal immigration. I mean, that money could be spent on other things like helping our veterans, helping the homeless, whether they black or white. The Klan is not a hate group. Like I tell people, we're not about hate. We just want to live separate from the other races, just like the Bible intended.
We're not a hate group.
Oh gosh, please show me in the Bible where God is white. Just show me where he's white. Like the Bible intended.
Blonde-haired, blue-eyed.
Oh my God.
Gotta be.
Somewhere it's gotta be. I mean, we've all seen the pictures of, sandy blonde, blue-eyed Jesus. So this must be the way it is. And the Bible must be contradicting itself by describing Jesus another way. And I keep bringing up Jesus because this is, that's their man. That's their man.
Absolutely.
So, this must be where they are basing that white is somehow superior.
Yes.
I don't understand.
Well, so much of them is based on Old Testament, though. You know, the angry, vengeful,
Oh yeah,
jealous God.
very true. And you know, so this guy is so normal to me because I see, I mean, even hearing him, this is so normal in my world. When I tell you, I probably know him. If he were to take off his invisibility sunglasses, I'd probably know exactly who he is. And there's anger behind everything that he speaks about. If you want to live separate, you know, I don't have anybody at my home that I don't invite over. You know what I mean? If you want to live separate, live all separate.
Yeah.
But my gosh, why dress up in the disguise and hold rallies and harm people, regardless of what you say?
Yes, I'm going to show you in a little bit how his glasses keep him from being known. He's like Superman, right?
Yeah, he's hard to recognize. I mean, you know, he's hard to recognize.
So I also want to give you another misinformation of the Klan.
Oh gosh, it gets better.
They're highly misunderstood.
Again, that's what happens to victims.
Are there still lynchings anymore?
No, the Klan ain't never lynched people. That's another myth that I helped destroy years ago when I was doing an interview for Fox. As I told them, show me a picture of the Klan lynching somebody in their robes and a black person hanging. And to this day, nobody's been able to produce a picture because it never happened. And like I told people, look it up. Lynchings were common by what they call lynch mobs back in. And if you look at the photos of anywhere where a black person's hanging, you don't see KKK people, you see the townspeople, because it was a common event back then. When somebody committed a crime, they hung them, and the whole town would come out there and have popcorn for sale. It's basically like one big carnival, but yet that got pushed on the Klan a lot, that the Klan went out and lynched these people. Look at any picture of any lynching, you'll see it ain't the KKK, it's the townspeople themselves.
You can't find a picture, they didn't do it.
Exactly.
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen. It's been pushed on them. Once again, been pushed on them.
Yep.
They've gotten the bad rap of being a white supremacist, terrorist hate group. And this is all just one big misunderstanding.
It is. Yep.
You know.
Yep. I mean, it's horrible what they were what has been pushed on them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, secret rallies, bed sheets, terrorism, you know.
Or all the pictures where like you've got people like holding a noose. Why are you holding the noose if you don't hang people?
Right. Come on, man. Come on, man. And it's the townspeople. And yes, we all know, but I like the way he pointed out how that people were hung for committing crimes. But many black people in that time, their only crime was being black.
Absolutely.
Their only crime. They did not jump boats and come here. They were kidnapped, sold into slavery. And then we have generations of other black human beings that were born here and are absolutely true Americans.
Yep.
And their only crime ever was being black in an area of the country that did not want them as anything as other than livestock and labor.
Yep.
It's the same way, Eric, that their rape, their brutality, their beatings were justified in the South. And we would not have what the things that we have today had not generations of other human beings worked to provide us with things. I mean, we look at our shirts, the things that we wear, and that came from the blood and sweat and inequality of basically prisoners of war almost. I mean, these were prisoners that were sold and auctioned. Now, maybe by generation 3, even 4, we can talk about people really believing this. But when we talk about the first people that began this whole idea of slavery. Once again, let's talk about white people introduced black people into this country.
Mhm.
They were not knocking on ship doors saying, hey, we're going to the land of opportunity.
Yep.
You brought them here.
Right. Now you want to send them home.
Now you want to send them somewhere else when they have just as much right to be here as you
Right.
do.
Because home is here.
Right.
I mean, that's the, you know,
Exactly.
the thing they talk about, right, is that, okay, separation, segregation, right? Now, these people also live by the Constitution. I mean, the Republican Party had always been about the Constitution. Well, it says in the Constitution that if you are born here, then you are a citizen of here and of that state. Okay. So then you need to give them states. If you want to separate or segregate, then what states do they get?
Absolutely.
I mean, you can't, you know, if you want to live there, then where do they live? Because they're citizens.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Constitution.
As much as you are. That's
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
As much as you are. As much as you are. These arguments don't make any sense.
They don't.
They're blind hate. I look at the brand of cigarettes this guy's smoking, and I guarantee you he's living under the poverty level, and he's pissed off, like so many of them are, because they think somebody else, poor me, somebody else is taking my work.
Absolutely.
Somebody else is taking my resources. I'm paying taxes for this, that, and the other.
Well, it's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
No.
None of it is his
No.
fault.
I mean,
Again,
and that's when I look at the fear you know, it's like they live in fear, right?
Yep.
Oh, fear that, you know, their governor is going to be a black person, you know, that well, why don't you bust your ass, go to college, maybe get educated, and then you know, maybe you'll be more educated and you'll be able to get better jobs. You know, he makes a statement, you know, it's like, you know, the white people, you know, can't get loans. Can't you, like, really? Really?
No, those with credit scores below, because there are plenty of white people. The majority of the billions that are had in this country are because they are for white people.
Yeah.
He's just an angry poor guy
Yeah.
with little to no education.
Yeah.
That wants a cause, wants to deflect any fault of his own and say, it's not that I can't go get it, it's because it's being kept from me by the blacks and the Jews and the Mexicans and everybody else. Again, deflection. Must be the sunglasses.
Yes.
Must be the sunglasses.
Yes.
Deflect.
Yes. So they are not lynchers. They are not haters. Okay. But now I want to show you a video real quick of what he wants to do and how the problem will fix itself.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm ready for this.
You could argue that the Klan is contributing to the problem, no?
No, the Klan ain't contributing to the problem. You can just sit back and let the blacks do their own job. I mean, let them keep killing each other in record numbers. We ain't got to, the Klan ain't got to go out and kill blacks no more. We just drop off some liquor in their town and some guns, and they do it themselves.
Did you catch what he said? The Klan doesn't have to kill blacks anymore.
Anymore.
But they never lynched.
That's right.
They don't hate.
That was pushed on them. That was pushed on them.
So, but they did kill. Right?
Yes. You can't have the statement anymore if you never had any to begin with.
I love that video because he literally contradicts himself.
He does. And I love the laugh that he does.
Yeah.
Like he's just done something special, man. It's hard for me to walk in these guys' shoes because
Yes.
they're so contradictory and comical.
Yeah.
If they made sense,
Yep.
I'd take a stroll on them.
Yeah, he says in one of the, and I didn't bring this one up, but it's just, he kind of continues on and he says, all I want to do is just, I want to load my truck up with alcohol and guns and just go drop it off in these black neighborhoods and let them just kill themselves.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. Not an
But
angry
they don't
guy.
hate.
No.
They just want to be separated. Right.
Right.
And so,
Right.
and you can't separate them out of the United States if they're citizens. So they need to have their own land, and then they can have their own land, right?
Exactly.
So where do they get? I don't know, maybe, what states could we throw their way?
Well, I don't know. Texas is pretty big,
Texas.
Of course, they won't get any southern states because
That's the
that's
problem.
white land.
Right.
Yeah, that's the problem.
California is a little more on the liberal side, although you got a lot of Republican haters in California too.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Got a lot of money there. Got a lot of wealth.
Absolutely.
There, which, according to this guy, must all be, Black and Jewish people that have all the wealth.
Well, that's all exactly, because they're the only ones that can get loans. And
right. And he stands on this stuff, man. That's the scary part. He stands on this stuff, and I guarantee you he's found a person to be with, and he has reproduced. And now we get another generation, because let's just say the truth. Why do we have so much Black on Black crime? It's not racially motivated. It's because of poverty. It's because when you have systematically made a whole race of people from the beginning when you give them no opportunity, when you tell them we live by the Constitution, and yet those generations did all the same things and never could get anywhere. Then they were, when after the Jim Crow laws and slavery was over, we started having the loopholes, which meant if you were a criminal, then the state could own you and get work out of you. So then we started arresting 8-year-old Black males and putting them in prison for trumped up charges. How do we create the school to prison pipeline? We do it like this. You take any class of people, any race of people, and systematically and generationally over and over and over deny them human rights. What are you going to create? We created ghettos. We created low income areas. We created that because of these same ideals, separate.
Yeah.
We want to be separate.
Right.
I mean,
I want to stand up for the guy real quick though. All right.
Okay, good.
One argument that he said that I agree with, right, is that if he goes out and says, I'm proud to be white, right, he will be looked at as racist. And absolutely. I agree with that. And actually that is a racist because like for me, I mean, realistically, like I don't go out there and like, I'm proud to be white. I mean, who says that? I mean, really? Racist people do.
We didn't have anything to do with it. That's the thing. We didn't have anything to do with it.
Not a bit.
Proud of accomplishments. Yeah. This is not an accomplishment.
Nope.
It's upon me.
Yep. Yeah, it was thrust upon you. Whatever race you are, it was thrust upon you. There was no choices. I don't remember being sperm and saying, you know what are you I'm going to be white.
Yeah, that's the best race to be. Pick white.
Pick white. Yeah, that's a good point.
If not to be vile here, but I think it all starts out white, correct? I mean, not to be vile and gross, but
it does.
And it all starts out that way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, how do we hate
sticky white
things? Yeah, it's gross. That's pretty ironic. Here's what I believe about God. Yeah. God has a sense of humor, and it's pretty doggone apparent.
Sticky and white.
Sticky white.
This guy's good, man. This guy is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got a lot of good content.
Now, I want to show you a great conspiracy theory. You got to go with conspiracy theory too. And you know that this guy and these types of people are going to have conspiracy theories.
Oh, sure.
I mean, the guy was on Fox, right?
I know, right?
The masters of
I know.
conspiracy.
The masters.
So
And he's a deflector. You got to be a victim. There's got to be a conspiracy theory.
absolutely. And so I want to let you know, the Germans are not who killed the Jews.
Oh, okay. Good. Man, glad that's cleared up.
So,
Who are you going to be voting for this fall?
so far, we're still going to vote for Trump, even though he's pretty much selling us out. Every time I turn on television, he's giving more and more money to the Jews in Israel. And to me, we done gave enough to that country. We give $38 billion a year in foreign aid to Israel, and I don't get why we keep giving to these people. I don't care for the Holocaust lie. I wish they'd go and tell the truth about the Holocaust, that, you know, it was our soldiers who done the killing of the Jews. And I think they should tell the truth that we bombed the concentration camps thinking that they were military bases of the Germans. And we're basically, it would be the American government, the British government, the Canadian government are responsible for the Holocaust. It wasn't the Germans.
Yeah, it was not the Germans. It wasn't the Nazis, right? They were just
Right.
So if we thought that they were military bases, and then obviously we went in and must have killed all the Jews, what were those places?
I know.
If they were military bases and they were full of Jews,
right?
Then what were they?
Right. You know, this guy needs to teach
Like a
class.
school? I'm thinking maybe a school, college.
Something to that extent, because, you know, I'm just blown away by this conspiracy that I'm learning this information now, and it's just really flipping my whole world upside down.
We've been wrong all along.
It makes so much sense.
You know, the other thing that's funny to me, so the Old Testament in the Bible, right, is the Israelites were the chosen people. Everything that he discusses, Leviticus, all of those stories are the Israelites.
Exactly.
So who is he? Who is he even in the story?
I have no clue. He somehow got himself in chosen people, but yet denies that he is an Israelite.
He's not. He is not the people that is in the Bible, because obviously he denies that thing. So, but somehow in line, he's thrown his name in there.
Absolutely.
It's the Grand Dragon.
And then what is this? Well, I couldn't take my eyes off the patch on his vest that says the Knights of the Mystery Midnight, or Midnight Mystery. What type of connotation does that throw out there? That what do we do in the mystery of midnight?
It's got to be biblical.
Somewhere it's got to be, and I'm sure he can tell us, because his Bible facts are right on point.
100%.
You know, his review, and I know we haven't seen this clip yet, but he talks about in one of his clips, Matthew 15, that, you know, that's where it talks about some of his stuff that he's talking about.
Why don't we get to that? Why don't we get to that?
Let's go right to that.
Let me throw that one up real quick.
Wonderful things there.
We use the Bible to swear you in and to become a full-fledged member of the Klan. So, I mean, we want to stick by the laws of God. And, you know, you ain't going to make it to the kingdom of heaven unless you stick by the laws of God. So that's one thing we try to teach in our family. You know, this was taught 30, 40 years ago. I remember, you know, you wouldn't see colored people mixing and going into a church 30 years ago, not in this state. And now the preachers are allowing it. And to me, it's sickening, and it's sickening to see these preachers sell out their congregations and damn their own congregation straight to hell by pushing all this equality nonsense, knowing that the Bible says all the races should be separate, and that when Christ comes back, he says he shall separate all races again, separate all people by their tongues and put them in their own nations. That's in Matthew 15. So, I mean, to me, the Bible and the Klan go hand in hand.
I need help with that one.
I got you on this one, because I went all through Matthew 15, and he does talk about tongues, but listen to this. So let's say,
but tongue is language, the understanding of language.
Right. Now, this is how it starts out. Now, it says, why do thy disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? We think, okay, well, maybe he's on to something, the tradition of the elders. But here it is. For they wash not their hands when they eat bread. But he answered and said unto them, why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition? For God commanded, saying, honor thy father and mother, and he that curseth father or mother, let him die the death. But ye say, whoever shall say to his father or his mother, it is a gift by whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me, and honor not his father or his mother, he shall be free. Thus have ye made the commandment of God of none effect by your tradition. Ye hypocrites, well did Esaias prophesy of you, saying, now this is what really makes me think of him. He spoke of Matthew, I don't think he meant to, because here it is. This people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth, and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. And he called the multitude and said unto them, hear and understand, not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth a man. Now, I think that to me, I think he said a prophetic word without even realizing he said a prophetic word. Now, nowhere in Matthew 15 does it talk about Jesus coming back, putting people where they go with their own people. This is one of my favorites. Now, this is this is chapter 15:13. But he answered and said, every plant which my heavenly Father hath not planted shall be rooted up. Let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind, and if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. All of this supposedly are Jesus's words. Jesus is saying that the blind are leaders of the blind, and that both shall be put in the ditch. So this, I think,
this guy's blind.
This guy's definitely blind. He's leading others. He's been led by the blind. He's leading others blind. And unfortunately, it seems to me they're all going to fall into the ditch.
Yeah.
Now, there is so much. Those things which proceed out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defile the man. But nowhere in Matthew 15 does it say anything that this man just spoke about it saying. And to be fair, he does have a bit of a thick accent. So I even went looking for Matthew 50, which it doesn't exist. Because I thought when I read Matthew 15, I thought, surely he can't. I must be hearing it wrong. He must have said Matthew 50. No 50. No Matthew 50, only 15. And it doesn't say anything about that. But I do believe it talks about him and all that are with him, because it is also talks there about lost sheep and the house of Israel. Jesus in Matthew 15 is talking about having compassion, feeding 5,000. And these were the people that came to Jesus that were maimed. They were the outcasts of their world, their community. There's so many lies.
Yeah.
There's just so many lies.
What I'm thinking is he may be blind. Let me see if we can get him to take his glasses off.
That's what we need to do. Let's see. Before I get too rough on him. I don't want to be rough on him.
Because he may be blind.
He might be blind.
Chris, I'm going to ask you, can maybe take off your sunglasses when you answer it?
No, I don't take off my glasses.
You want to keep them on?
Yeah, for right now, I do.
Okay. Are you open to taking them off at all?
No.
No, okay.
I used to, but it's done got so bad where now if they see me on TV, wherever I work at, they usually terminate me.
Okay, understood.
I've lost 2 jobs now for being in the KKK.
So we have determined that he's like Superman. When you have your glasses on, and then when you take them off, you're 2 separate people.
Absolutely.
I mean, you would never be able to tell by this crazy goatee that he's got. That could be him.
No, nor by his voice or anyone know, you just wouldn't be able to tell. When he takes the glasses off, I'm sure all that changes.
Everything.
So
He looks so completely different.
you just would never know who he is. And he's lost 2 jobs. Once again, he's a victim. Victim.
Absolutely. So, and
That's
none
all
of
I
it's
get.
his fault.
None of it. And I had someone like him once use the same words, sickening. And when they were talking about me, and I tell you, I think that the hate that is spewed is what's so sickening in all of it to me, that people will just, and they will throw the excuses. Well, this is just how I was raised. This is the Bible. Everybody thinks that once they put the period of this is the Bible, God said it's in the Bible, it must be true, that's the end of the argument. No longer do they have to learn anything or grow or expand. That's just that.
Right.
But every day, these people are using the expansion of humanity, and that I bet this guy has a cell phone. He's got that handy dandy little lighter, those cheap cigarettes. All of these things are expansions and evolution of humanity.
Absolutely.
He just wants to be pissed off, man.
Yep. Now I want to end this, and I want to go to, and yeah, this is kind of through a Trump rally, but it's directed, part of this, towards the Muslims. Obviously, with we're looking at hate, especially within the Republican Party.
Muslim is not a religion, partner. It's an ideology. You don't come and talk about America when you're supporting Muslims. Good luck to you.
I don't know if you noticed, right? The Sig Heil at the end, right? and so, but I gotta say on this to me is extremely funny, because of the lack of education. Everybody's heard like the saying, right? Like every woman is a person, but not every person is a woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time, and I've heard this numerous times, that I heard the connotation, right? That Muslim is an ideology. It is not. Okay. First of all, Muslim is a person. It's not, has nothing. Muslims believe in Islam. Okay.
Right.
So they're like sort of weird direction in that conversation is actually, he was saying, and I'll just throw it out for what he should have said if he wanted to at least make an argument, is that Islam
a little bit of sense
is an ideology, right?
Right.
But I want to break this down real quick. Okay. Every religion is an ideology. Now, not every ideology is a religion.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So, there's a very distinct defining characteristic, right, that makes an ideology also a religion. And it's belief in and the worship of one or more supreme beings or deities, right?
Yes.
And obviously Islam meets that definition.
Correct.
But the argument goes on to talk about places like Iran, Afghanistan, right? Or Yemen, right? Where the church controls the state.
Mm-hmm.
And so the political ideology at work is not Islam, right?
Right.
It's actually called theocracy.
Right.
So almost, all theocratic states in the world are Islamic in nature, with the exception of one. And it is actually one that is within Christianity, or within the belief in Jesus Christ, and it's the Vatican.
The Vatican.
Which is its own internationally recognized political entity.
Yes, it is.
The Pope as head of state.
Yes, it is.
The argument that Islam is the only theocracy, but again, he was identifying it as an ideology, and an ideology is not what that is. And so a theocracy is a form of government in which God or a deity is recognized as the supreme ruler, the God, or the deity's laws being interpreted by the authorities, right? So the
I think it's safe to
religion,
say.
what's
Well,
that?
go ahead, finish.
I was
Go ahead
saying
and
the
finish.
religion that the state is run by doesn't really matter, right?
Correct.
So if the church is in charge, you're in a theocracy, right?
Absolutely.
So we could almost define Utah. Utah is the only state that originally took every religious rule and made it a state law.
Yep, for sure.
And so this whole argument, right? The Sig Heil, okay? I mean, what are you praising? The Nazis, right?
Who I guess are victims too, we have come to find out.
Absolutely, because they didn't kill the Jews. It was the
They didn't kill the
States
Jews.
killed the Jews. Now, is the Nazi Party an ideology, right? Or correlated with the theocracy? Did they believe in God? Did they believe in, and of course that was ruled by
Right.
Hitler, maybe whatever his
Right.
belief system was.
Right.
Right. So are we seeing contradictions within those that very brief moment of video?
Nothing but. I think it's safe to say that there is no, that God has been taken completely out of this, if it ever existed at all. I think there's nothing that. And the public service announcement is this: people, hang out with some other people that have different points of view, that are different in nature from you, because the danger here is by surrounding yourself by only people that co-sign your bullshit.
Yeah.
Keeps you so small and locked in the type of hatred that's not only detrimental to you, it's detrimental to humanity. So get some new friends.
Absolutely.
That's all I got.
Okay, actually, I had one more video. I apologize.
Oh, good.
But this goes back to our friend with the KKK, the Supreme Ruler, Dragon Master, whatever he is. This is another one. As again, as I said, I could literally just watch this guy's video from beginning to end. I mean, we've broken apart this entire interview, and we've pretty much gone through the whole interview, and as we've identified irregularities.
Yep. Sadly, it sounds like a Tuesday conversation that I would hear at work. That's the sad part.
There's blacks killing whites in record numbers. That's the FBI statistics say they kill close to 500,000 whites every year, while whites kill blacks at 30. I think it was 30,586 blacks got killed by whites last year, but they killed 500,000 of our people. So I think, why ain't this info on the news? Why do I have to go to the government websites to get it? That's because the Jews are covering it all up.
The Jews are covering it all up.
The Jews are covering it up.
Okay, and I'll tell you why it has not been covered on the news is because that is the most inaccurate of information, okay? If you actually go to, and again, the problem with this stuff is that they spout this stuff out, and all you got to do is look it up, and you can see how bullshitty it is.
Right.
Okay? In like 2019, for instance, okay, it's estimated numbers of murders in the nation was 16,425. He was at 500,000 whites,
right?
500,000. I mean, we didn't even have 20,000, right?
Wow.
This was, which was actually, so 2019, right, was actually a 0.3% increase from 2018, right? It was like a 3% increase from 2015, right? It was an 11% increase from like 2010, okay? So check this out. According to the FBI's homicide data, so again, he was referring to the FBI.
Right, he said that.
So if you go to their website, you'll actually find that about 80 of murders of white people were committed by white offenders. So on their site, 80%, right? Actually, a little over 80%, right? So it was like, you know, it was like almost a little over 2,500 of the over 3,000 murders of white people were by white people, right? It was about a little over 15% of the murders of white people were committed by black people.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Now, social media also shows, right, that white offenders committed about 2% of murders of black victims when it's actually, right, about 8%. So it is higher, right? Of black people that were murdered by white people, right? And yes, it's a large number of black, but it's about similar. It's about 88% of black on black murders, and it's about 80%, over 80% of white on white murders. Where does this guy get the information? Where is this guy even getting this information? It's not on the FBI site.
It's absolutely not. The saddest part is this blind is blindly leading the other blinds, and nobody's fact checking, like nobody's questioning.
And it's his damn glasses on why he's blind.
I know.
Take those fucking things off.
Exactly. So no responsibility. Eric, please buy me a pair of no responsibility glasses. I need these things. I need them. I need them. Tired of owning my own bullshit. I'm tired of it.
Put those things on. Nobody knows who you are.
Nobody knows.
You just disappear.
Just like that. I'm an X-Man.
We've defined that, let's see, this KKK guy they non-hate, doesn't hate people.
No more lynching.
They never lynched.
Never lynched.
But they don't have to kill anymore, because all they got to do is get them booze and guns and they'll kill each other.
That's right. That's right.
Of course, his FBI numbers are way off. Right?
Of course. Yes. His Bible knowledge is way off.
Way off.
Way off.
Which shows you again, I mean, he's just giving inaccurate information and people just listen. I mean, this is like what's his title? Like the dragon, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, obviously,
which sounds like a high rank.
Obviously, he's got people that listen to his bullshit, and he remains the grand poobah dragon, whatever, because he's obviously intelligent to those people.
Right.
I mean, he's brilliant.
Exactly.
With no accurate information.
Absolutely none. Absolutely none. So he plays on fear and the emotions of others to sell his emotional, hatred, breakdown. Wait, my bad. I should not have used that language, but anger at the state of things. And, and that's what happens. That's what happens when we let hate infest us, when we let anger infest us, when we don't take responsibility for our own life, when we want to blame others and everyone else. And then in order for us to buy all that, we've got to make other people believe it. So if they believe it, it must be true.
Yep.
No responsibility. Got my glasses on.
Yep.
This is it. This is it.
Can't see me.
Cannot.
Know who I am.
I just say what I want.
I just pass through. Nobody knows who I am.
That's right. That's
It's always been the KKK's thing. They throw on hoods. Right?
Always did.
I mean, I don't really know what the premise they wanted to be. They were afraid to be seen. I don't know. I think it was more of a fear thing, though. I think it really was that like it a little more fearful. Than just wearing glasses.
At a certain point, I did a lot of study about that when I was in college, because racism has always fascinated me. I mean, we hate people for something they can't help. And it's not like we get to choose or whatever. So, that's always fascinated me. And I used to really know the answer to that. But I think that my heart tells me it has a lot to do with what you're saying, that it's fear tactics, 100%. What's scarier, what's scarier.
I mean, he said it too, like, we can't say white power anymore. I'm proud to be white. We can't get loans anymore. Apparently, you can't get any assistance anymore because you're white. And so that's fear,
That's absolutely nothing but.
and
Yep.
which I would probably say that's about the most ridiculous statement ever, because if you've got, like you said, good credit, and a bank will gladly give you a loan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are plenty of people on the earth, especially white people, driving around in stuff that they do not own. They make payments on. So somebody somewhere gave them loans.
And
It's
if he's
because-
not getting it, he's got shitty credit, he's broke, he's got no money, because a bank, when they give you a loan, they make money on you. They love giving
Absolutely.
people loans. That's why they do
Absolutely.
it, because then they get money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he's been fired from 2 jobs for being in the KKK.
Doubtful, but probably for being a poor worker, maybe.
That or a jackass. One of the two.
Right.
One of the two. I mean, again, deflection. We let ourselves get eat up with hate. We want other people to co-sign our bullshit, and we don't realize that we're putting people's lives in danger because some impressionable soul that's sitting in one of those meetings, they're going to be the one that bombs churches in Birmingham, that shoots and kills people, that bombs churches in
And all for lies.
South Carolina, all for lies.
Yeah.
They're being radicalized right here by a terrorist group that is right in our own country.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy when like the Islam, for instance, right? Everybody's like going, oh yeah, Muslims got to, because 9/11, right? I mean, how many people were involved in that? I mean, with like 10, 8, 7, I don't know, and
Yep.
and then you're going to just generalize all
Exactly.
people that believe in Islam, all Muslims,
Exactly.
right? Are
Exactly.
that way, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, they say, it's funny, like, people are like, oh, Muslims are killing Christians, right? You know how many Christians are killing Christians?
Right.
I mean, how many forever that's happened?
I'm just sitting here thinking, I
Yeah.
mean, we don't generalize all Christians for the actions of some, but there have been more terrible actions made in the name of the Christian God
Yeah,
than any of these
Yeah.
things.
absolutely.
Violence is violence. Hate is hate,
Yeah.
regardless of what deity you stamp it with. That's what it is.
I mean, people just assume like ISIS is all Muslims.
All.
That's such crap,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
you got, and just with anything, like you look at politics, you look at religion, you're going to have the extremists.
Mhm.
You've got your
Yes.
far right, Republicans, your far left Democrats, you've got your
Correct.
far insane, Muslims, you got your
Absolutely.
crazy, insane Christians.
Absolutely. 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 And it's just time, and the biggest shift happening in the world today is that we all got to start asking questions, man. If it don't feel right, if it don't sound right, question it. Question. Think for yourself.
Absolutely. That's the premise. Think for
That's
yourself.
the premise.
I mean, you listen to these people. Does it make sense? No. I mean,
Right.
is the honesty in it? I mean, that's why, like, I think I said last week, it's like, once I find something dishonest within something somebody says, I lose interest in that person.
Yeah. Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm not going to be able to trust anything they say. Now, this doesn't mean I won't listen to them, but then I
Right.
can research it.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
people throw out these statistics by the F. See, that's the funny part to me. It's like, I mean, the people that are buying this are stupid people that lack the intelligence to be able, I mean, all we got to do is go online. I mean, we have it at our fingertips.
Exactly. If that, we can ask Alexa, hey, Alexa,
Exactly.
show me this. We don't even have to do anything anymore.
Yeah. I mean, like it's not like back in the day where before we had computers that, it was probably a lot easier feeding people a bunch of bullshit because,
Absolutely.
it was going to be like, damn, it's going to take a lot of work for me to freaking gather that information up,
Right.
like I'm going to
Sounds
freaking
good to
call
me.
the FBI and freaking have them send me the freaking stats on murders, But today, like you go straight to their website, you hear all this stuff, the CDC stuff, like you just go to their website, like literally people are like, it says this on their website. And then you go to their website and you're like, where are you even seeing this?
Right.
That's
Right.
not what it says.
Exactly. I know. And I think that the ridiculousness of all of this is it has to come to an head so that we can finally just blow it all up and say, all right. At what point do we start just thinking for ourselves, man? Stop trying to belong. You want to belong so bad to something that you're willing to buy lies that are dangerous. Dangerous lies, man. And they're killing people, whether they are killing people internally because they're carrying shame because somebody's growing up in a family like this. And who's to say that they fall in love with someone from a different race because they see the heart of a person and not the skin of a person, or say that they are, attracted to the same sex. I mean, there are people that are growing up in these families and they are sitting on suicide daily. They're being hurt, harmed, and hate crimes. This has got to end.
Yep, absolutely.
Got to end.
Well, hey, we got to cut this.
Yeah, we do.
This was absolutely fun as normal as always. I love this.
Me too, man.
And again, as we've said before, we are looking to walk a mile in your shoes.
Yes,
and we hope you walk a mile in our shoes. That way understanding comes into play.
That's right. And we can only heal through understanding. So let's take that walk together, man. Let's take that walk together.
So again, join us on our next episode, which will be coming out next week. And we'll see what more fun we can find and have.
That's right. That's right. And until then, make sure to check out the High While Clean podcast with Mr. Eric McCoy, and come over and visit the Transgender Mentor, another show on Sunday nights, both on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, help us grow messages of hope, love, healing, and understanding.
Absolutely. All right.
Crazy, man.
Thanks again for tuning in. Walk a mile in my shoes, and we will see you next week. Thanks.
All right. Bye, everybody.